Alright.
Yo.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to another episode of
Drunk Context. We're now on episode
5.
Wow,
Yeah.
We really committed to this thing.
5 episodes. Can't believe it. It's crazy.
It's been like that just happened week after week after week. Yeah, we're on episode 5, guys.
Yeah, I hope you guys been enjoying the content. We've been trying to do our best to, just speak our truth, and spread the word a little bit. Hope you guys been enjoying it.
Yeah.
And once again, of course, I'm Matt.
I'm Drew. And here we go.
Here we go. This episode is going to start off on a little bit of a somber note, unfortunately. I want to say rest in peace to one of the icons in our culture, Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah, R.I.P.
He was gunned down in front of his own shopping mall complex in California on March 31st.
Yeah, by literally what was supposed to be a friend of his.
Yes, everyone knew this guy in the neighborhood, the guy who shot him. Apparently he told the guy that you're a snitch, we don't want you around here.
Yeah, no stitches like that.
And,
can't fuck with the crew.
He told the guy to leave, and the guy came back and then ended up shooting him. I don't know if you guys seen the video, but the video was very gruesome. He shot him. He actually went back again and shot him again. Like, he even kicked him. The video was very, very sad.
I didn't really get to really see like all that depth into that. I kind of saw it, but I couldn't really make out much of it until I saw some guy dropping down. But like when I was watching, I was like, "What is happening there? Like, what is going on with this?" It's messed up because you have people. I mean, this is someone that he knew. Pretty sure at some point in his life probably helped out. I mean, if they go on to label your friends, right?
And this guy apparently had a lot of mental issues too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. He was caught. He was arrested, trying to sign back into the mental hospital that he was once from. So he was known for having he had been a little bit, not all there in the head.
I see some little personal traumas there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's just sad, man. I mean, honestly, I wasn't like a crazy Nipsey Hussle fan when it comes to the music, but I definitely paid attention to the work that he did in the neighborhood and just the work that he did in the culture. Like, I paid more attention to the dad than I did the music. Every time I heard his music, of course, I bombed it, but like, it wasn't like my go-to. I'm gonna sit here and say I was a crazy fan. Right. But I did enjoy his music, and I enjoyed him more as a person than I did his music.
Right. So
this definitely shocked hard.
Yeah, like, honestly, like, I mean, a lot of my research is actually kind of came more recently. Like, I knew of him, but did not really know much about him. Like, we were actually filming when you found out.
Yeah, the day, yeah.
Yeah, we were like, after we were like editing, we got the news, and I'm just like who? But when he showed me, I was like, oh man, this was like a real icon in our society and our culture.
Well, he was doing a lot, man. He was doing a lot. He was in the middle of getting the gangs together to sign a treaty in L.A.
Yeah,
he was in the middle of, all the gangs. He was in the middle of getting them all to get together. And, of course, he had his marathon clothing line and everything. He had a bunch of stores. He was just, a person who was into getting the whole neighborhood and getting everyone together. He always spoke positive.
And actually, what I was looking up too, like I saw that he had this place, like a place for like young entrepreneurs.
Yes, he even had a school. Yes,
yeah, a school, and it was like an outlet for young entrepreneurs to actually have without having a place to do their business, without having to pay any overhead fees. That caught me off guard. I was like, shit, that was insane.
He was doing a lot, bro. I still have the first XXL when he was first introduced. I found it in my house. I'm like, I still got it, the first one. I think it was early 2000s. But anyway, that shit. He was doing a lot, and it's just sad to see that someone who didn't only speak it but was actually walking it, go so soon at the age of 33. That's really young.
That's
he had so much more to go.
And that was one of the things too that kind of got me too, like seeing that. I remember we were actually talking about this earlier. You were saying like the parallels of his life in comparison to Jesus.
Yeah, I mean,
he died.
He was the Jesus of our culture. It seems like. I mean, I don't know if people are into numerology like that, but everything that seems to happen around him, it just seems really weird. He's 33. He died on March 31st, where he was shot like 6 times.
Right.
It's just a lot of weird things happening around it that make it seem like, you know,
the conspiracy.
You know, of course, I question everything, so my conspiracy head definitely went out there.
So I have people who had interest in this topic and who were also talking about the idea of the conspiracy behind it. I also know from when the time when the incident first happened to the time. So this has been like a week. So a week plus from the time where
it's been a while.
We had like from the first when he first died, there was a lot of people being upset. The family was very upset on the fact that they're like trying to say like, oh, please don't like describe my son as like into conspiracies and you know these ideas that he was linked to and all of this, but. You know, but then the evidence was like a lot of stuff. People were saying, "Oh, my government." Like I don't have the basis on that.
Just the way it all happened, right? It made people speculate. It made people question, even if you weren't a person to question. Especially if the fact that he was working on the Dr. Sebi documentary, and even around the Dr. Sebi death, there's so much questions around it. Every time it seems to come towards something that's the truth. It seems like people died, you know. So of course, everyone light went off. Like, hey, you know, people thought that, you know, it seems like he was trying to bring truth out, and he was so positive. That's probably one of the reasons that he might have died, you know.
Right. And just for our viewers, just so you guys know, like Dr. Sebi, you would say like he was like the underground kind of doctors. He was who apparently had cures for like.
Yeah, he had cured for a lot
Cancer,
of things. AIDS, diabetes, like he had the cure for a lot of things based off herbs.
Right.
And I think it was the late 80s he was taken to court by the government because he posted a ad in the Village Voice.
Right. Yes, I read about that.
He posted an ad in the Village Voice saying that he cured all these things. And because of that, they brought him to court, and he won. He won the trial because over 70 or more of the patients that he had ended up coming to the trial and showing proof that yeah, he actually did this thing. He actually did these things.
Right. He had like they had medical records. They had other doctors. There's a quote that he was saying when he was talking to the judge. The judge had asked him, "So you don't have a medical license? You should be okay." He said, "No, so I do not." So he asked him a question he asked the judge like 3 particular questions. He said, "What was it? If you go and you like if you would drink water, you drink water when you're thirsty or something like that. Like a herb is like the I guess the antithesis. I'm mismatching. I do apologize. I should have done my research a little better. But he brought these 3 quotes up. He brings up Hippocrates, or if I'm not butchering my Greek right, but he brings up the earliest medical doctors who pretty much got started the medical field with his philosophy and his ideas. And he was bringing up, he said like, oh, so what did he use at this time? They were using chemicals and all this? No, natural herbs and like berries, stuff like that. And his idea of how he was applying his medicine was based off of that, off of what our body takes as like for iron. Like
he felt that herbs had everything we needed to survive. He didn't really believe in like protein and meat and those things. He was a strict herbalist, a heavy herbalist. He believed our bodies was a conductor. It was electrical, and he believed that certain things shouldn't be put in there because it would slow us down. Even affect our brain function and everything.
So, well, my question was this then: with So with Nipsey, what was Nipsey's like promotion to him? Because I've been hearing
Well,
something about
Nipsey was just trying to. He was
where I
trying to
scared.
bring a documentary about him shining a light on his case and
Okay.
how it's possible for, like, the cures is there. You know, like the herbs and stuff is there for us to cure ourselves.
Right.
He was just trying to shine light on that particular, on Dr. Sebi case and the whole. There was a lot of conspiracies around this case before even Nipsey even thought about it.
Yeah, because this was like since like this was a case like back in like 1987.
Yep.
So this was at a time when it was like huge.
And it's rare. You have to remember this. A lot of people have been taken to court before for false medical practice with herbs, and they have not won. He's one of the few people ever to ever win a case, you know, against the government when it comes to that stuff. So it was a huge deal. Curing AIDS, like seriously, that's huge.
Yeah.
That is huge. A lot of people don't even know this, you know.
And he was saying but he was also making a lot of claims like curing cancer.
Yes, he's yeah.
Lupus,
Mhm.
sickle cell disease. I even heard herpes at one point, and I was like, that's what caught me. I was like, man, I was like, this guy is pulling some large claims.
And this is exactly why he was taken to court. That's exactly why he was a challenge.
And all right, so my question was, okay, with circumcising, so Dr. CB is no longer amongst us.
No, he died. And circumstances around his death, I don't know all the details, but I know there are conspiracy thoughts around his death.
Right. Yeah. I've heard like something like he was like arrested again, and like while he was arrested, like he took it with pneumonia, and then he got sick, and then he died shortly. And there's a lot of people who just like, whoa, that's a red flag for conspiracy. Like, oh, this is the guy who was talking about the very details about
who proved he had, you know, well, he proved that he healed people, you know.
Yeah, now my memory's coming back to me with the idea of what he was mentioning with the judge, like the stuff he was saying. A lot of these sicknesses are attributed with mucus. A lot of the mucous membranes that, like with pneumonia, mucus in the lungs. You know, when you're sick, mucus in the nose. And he was also attributing that, like when they said when you have like AIDS and stuff like that, you start seeing like breakouts of the skin, mucus in the skin, stuff like that. And he was trying to use common medicines that would attack that, like the over mucusing of the body. So that was one of the points I remember, and that's what he was using in his point when he was explaining to the judge, like the 3 points that the natural remedies that he's talking about, worked with. He, like I said, we were talking about this earlier. You were saying that he was very close knit with his remedies.
Yes. Like he didn't share it out as much.
Right.
He knew. I mean, I'm pretty sure he knew. He knew the worth of it. You know. I mean, he had his own ex-wife and kids and stuff. They took him to court and all that.
Right.
So he knew the worth of his stuff. There's still some of his products out there for sale. I don't know how authentic it is, but his name. There's still some products out there with his name on it.
So with Nipsey, so like, how did Nipsey get into?
Well, Nipsey, he's just that kind of guy, you know. He's into that type of energy. He's into the type of person he is. That energy would be drawn to him, you know. He's just the type of person. I mean, he grew up in the hood, but his whole energy, his whole movement was all about, you know.
He was smart.
He was smart. He was beyond his time. Like he was, man. He was, you know. You know how impactful someone is when everyone's talking about him, and they're not even talking about his music.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Everyone was talking about Nipsey.
Yeah,
people I didn't even know knew this guy, but talking about him. I'm like, how do you know? Like,
when I heard that, I think it was a sheriff that was. He said he's supposed to work with. He had a scheduled appointment or a meeting with him.
Yep.
The day he died. So working on like how better. Police relations with the community, like because they're in Crenshaw. This is a natural. This is a hood area. This is about like Brooklyn pre-gentrified kind of neighborhoods. And the way, so he was saying how he got emotional. At first, I was like, "You sure about that?" But as I started looking more into the life and
he
life
impacted a lot of people without just like. You know what? You know what about him? He didn't just say it. He lived it. You know what I mean? Which is a big reason why people respect him, because he wasn't like talking gun and violence in his music and then not doing that. You know what I mean? What he related in his music was pretty much what he related. He was always the same person. He was always real. No one really had anything bad to say about him. I mean, I've never seen anyone in the hip hop community since Tupac had such a huge impact.
I was gonna say, yeah, like Tupac was definitely
Tupac and Biggie. I mean,
yeah,
we were in Brooklyn too, so Biggie was, for us, the impact was huge. We don't know how it was elsewhere.
Yeah.
But for Nipsey, we're not even from LA. We're not even from that side. So like,
well,
to see the impact over here, to see the impact just kind of everywhere.
Yeah, that's what blew my mind. Like real talk. Like I was just like, wait a minute. Like this is like East Coast dude. I know we belong over East Coast West Coast beat, but we are territorial about like our music and the people that represent. But you know, we take up guys like, for example, J. Cole. We take up guys who's very deep, like Kendrick. You know, we listen to these guys and see what they do. But at the end of the day, they're still just primarily musicians. Although some people spread their message via this music. But this is a man who was about the action.
Yeah, people like him, people like Jay-Z. You know, like people really don't talk much about Jay-Z because you know what, Jay-Z, I realize that Jay-Z's the type of person, he does a lot of things in the background.
Yeah.
He's not really, he doesn't really do things for public eye, you know what I mean? People like that are the real people who are making the impact. You don't really hear about them, but you could see it by their actions and the way they move. And even Jay-Z's music have changed over the years.
Absolutely.
Like he's giving information. He's more conscious now. It's more like, it's more grown up. You know what I mean?
Talking about like how to better your life, what you should be working on. Like, oh, you think it's all about the music, like the sneakers and the clothes? No, it's about like what you got to do, how you put away for your life, what you know, how you invest in. He even, I remember listening to his tracks. I'm like, yo, this is.
That's what we need.
Than just that the local street stuff that we're about.
Yes.
It's like, you know, like we're clinging on to whatever, you know, because as men, you know, men are very prideful and egos take over a lot. He's really trying to like, yo, sometimes it's like you got to step back, see the large picture. You know, it's
you have to play the game, right? It's not about our little hood. We just think about pleasing our little pocket, our little hood. So like, you know, all we need in our hood is to have J's and whatever the case may be. And everyone's happy with just that.
Because that's the kingdom. That's the idea that he's trying to show you.
Yeah, the knowledge, man. And people like that, we really need to keep close to us in our culture. Because people like that is the ones that are going to represent us at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And it's really sad to see someone like Nipsey go. Like, you know, hopefully his kids, you know, and his family are doing okay. But hopefully his movement will move on, you know. His last album was called Victory Lap. That's another thing.
Yes.
How crazy is his last album was called Victory Lap?
I saw that.
His line is called The Marathon, dude. Like his whole thing, there's just way too much like coincidences and way too much like, it's just wild to me.
Well, I think
like how the last album you come out with is called Victory Lap, and then like,
and then you go
come on. That's deep.
It's either like I said, when they say that only the good die young sometimes, right? And
yeah, but his his job isn't done. You know what I mean? Like his impact is it's here. You know, it's felt, it vibrated through the whole country. You know what I mean? So his work is obviously not done.
Well, I think through death, sadly, because like in a sense, you know, there's the term like a martyr. Watching this evolve, like, you know, like people who never even heard about him, who just kind of just started peeping onto it. I literally seen the impact. I'm like, man, that's a martyr. That's a true martyr right there who you can move and influence and like create like followers, people that sees this positive message, you know, try to live to that. I'm not saying that it's overnight, people are just going to 100% follow that, but when you can push that much of movement, especially today's day and age, I'm constantly pushing that, like how today's society, we grab. I think his impact is going to last a lot longer, it's going to linger a little bit longer and stay in people's minds. The legacy that he's going to leave behind, that this is a man that I think is going to leave behind a true legacy.
Yes, because you know what made me think about a lot when he, like after this whole situation, what will people say about you after you're gone?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, like, it's way more than what you say. You know, it's way more than, you know, the things you talk about. It's more the everyday actions. It's more, you know, you don't, like, what will people say about you, bro? You know what I mean? Make sure you try to walk a positive path and make sure, like, you know, because this guy, he lived it and he showed it, and he just showed in the world. Right after he passed away, immediately, the love just poured out.
Does he have kids?
Yeah, he has two, I think. A girl and a boy. Okay. The girl's older.
Okay. I mean, like that, to me, like if, you know, an impact like that, you want to spread the message to the world, but honestly, I hope his message really transcends to his kids. I think it will. I hope that doesn't become an overburden for those kids.
I mean, it's really sad because, like, a father like that is what you really need around the world.
Yes.
It's what you really need. It's really sad. But hopefully, like, people
that kind of positive influence
people would help his legacy live on. That way, his kids will still be impacted by that. You know.
Well, I think because he lives so much in the forefront, so much of his music is there. Like that's forever. Like you can't really escape that. That's always going to be there. I think that they're going to be. I mean, like I said, you know, I wish them all the best, and I know what it's like to lose a father. We both do.
Yeah.
And what that impact of life, especially losing a father young, especially someone like that who could have done so much more with his time, even with his family. I think more so with his family as a personal reach out. Like what you done for everyone else, for people who don't deserve it, for people that don't need it, he went above and beyond. Like some people are all about, no, I got to take care of my own, especially in my community. The most people want to get by in the day is just to take care of their own.
Yeah, everyone is for self, but I hope everyone use him as an example and, like, you know, try to walk better, man. Try to live that better life. Like, you know, stop talking about it and be about it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Be kind to each other. It's like, even like, it's sad that like we like to shoot each other down, but I try not to focus on that.
Is there a pun intended on that one?
Yeah.
No, don't mean to joke with that, but
yeah.
That's.
But rest in peace to Nipsey.
Yeah.
You know.
Tip my hat.
Lots of love to his family. Lots of love to his kids. And
yeah, but
this was a hard one, man, for sure.
Yeah, I know. I see how that got you.
It was a hard one. It was a hard one.
Yeah. So I guess in the realm of what we're discussing, in terms of being in that spotlight. Like so, Jordan Peele has been.
Yes. It's lighting the mood a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty sure everyone by now probably seen Us.
Yep. Have you seen it yet?
I've seen. I haven't.
What are you doing?
I didn't see the whole movie. I just
All right. So, context for this movie.
I know the whole gist of it, but yeah.
Well, we're not going to talk spoilers. I think.
No, we're not going to go into the movie enough, but.
But more so what he was going through. So
the controversy about him saying that he wouldn't
cast a white actor in
a white lead. Yeah.
Yeah. So, So he
said he's seen that movie before. That's what his
right.
You know.
Well, that was how I felt like the article was taken out of context, and then you have people just blowing up that, oh, he's racist. Oh, I won't see a movie of his. I think it's funny. Like I'm actually getting more numb to the reactionary culture that we've become in all forms of life. I think a lot of people take things a little too seriously. It's the same thing with comedians, for example. Like comedians are now, you know, they in this PC realm, right? Which there are degrees of it where I feel yes.
I feel like some comedians you can't stop them.
Yeah, you can't. Well, you're censoring the culture. You're censoring the art. Are there some stuff that comes off offensive? Yeah, because there are particular audiences and there are particular ways, because that's their life on how they grew up, and sometimes sharing how they experienced it in the rawest form possible is how these comedians go on and tell their jokes. Chris Rock, you know, a lot of the stuff that he says today. Dave Chappelle, who got in trouble recently for talking about his with the, what was that? I forget the name of the artist. He had an artist, or he was on, what's his name? John Mayer, like a podcast or something.
Daniel Caesar.
Yeah, Daniel Caesar.
Yeah.
And what did he say to him? He said, "Oh, that dude sounds gay," or that. Or
Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah, and
people took it very offensive.
He took it offensive.
I mean,
he was there. I mean, I get like if I'm being blown, not blown up, but promoted.
I get it, but at the same time, if we can't take stuff from the comedians, then who could we take some from?
Who could we take it from?
Like,
at this
they're
point?
literally, their profession is a comedian. Like,
right.
You know, why would you be sensitive against the comedian?
Right.
Like, you know.
Then imagine, what if Richard Pryor started out today?
Dude, I seen old videos the other day. I seen an old video the other day of Richard Pryor and Sly from Sly and the Family Stone.
Yeah.
And an interview on a TV show. They were like, I don't know what drugs they were on, bro, but they were out there. They were ignoring the host. They were just having their own thing. Like, dude, it was a different time. These days, I just feel people are. It's a sensitive culture in every level. I mean,
like my level is like, okay, like there's stuff like I watch that I know has the offensive culture, but there are comedians who are very hyper aware of it, about the way we're reacting to today. South Park, for example, addresses that really nicely. They have this little skit called PC Babies. So anytime anything offensive, these little babies start crying, and so the problem is that it's kind of, they're kind of making a statement to how they feel about the way people reacted to the stuff that they talk about.
Well, yeah,
because they were always getting reactions. This 1998, they were, but back then it wasn't like social media though.
No, of course. If South Park like just came out like the way they were back then, and social media was heavy, it would have been crazy.
Yeah, no, but they had news reports. They had wanted to cancel that show a million times.
No, I know. Yeah, they
were super offensive. Remember their movie first came out? They were kids.
South Park was always controversial.
Yeah, but they're also super meta. Like they're also very
you see, for the thing is with me, right? I don't like when people get offended by, like, for example, why would you still get offended by South Park?
When you should know what it is.
Exactly.
But
like that's like just what I said about the comedians a second ago. If you know this comedian is a certain type of comedian, and they just make those kind of jokes, why would you get offended?
Because there are new sets of kids that are like now 18 and 19 at this point, and when they see this stuff, they're like, whoa, that's crap. Especially more, kids that go off to college now. They're trying to be.
But I could understand this if it's from someone who don't make those type of jokes, or if it's from someone randomly, then it's valid for you to get offended. But if it's someone who, this is who they are, they're hiding it from you. They did it to many people. You know it's not personal. You know this is how the person is. Like, why are you still taking it? It's the weirdest thing.
Well, no, because there are going to be people that's going to say, no, that's not okay. Like, that's the first reaction. And when you hear that someone, and this is how the person that says it gains credibility, because they're at a point where they're stating, like, no, this hurts me. And when you realize it's that, whoa, shit, like, because it's, especially today's day, everyone's accessible, everyone has a voice. So when you're hitting someone that's directly saying, no, this hurts me, and then there's someone that's going to step up behind them, no, that does hurt me too. And then that all comes up, and that voices up against the show in real time. It's not like where we have to wait till 10 o'clock to see a news report, and we don't have anything where people can give feedback. Everything has feedback. So more so now, it's just like, whoa, shit. Everyone can comment on anything, and at any given moment. This is why news is actually very so micro.
But we're simplifying things to something hurting everyone. But we have to realize that something's always gonna hurt. Like, if you say something, it might not offend you, but the next guy down the line, it might offend. You're always gonna be able to offend someone. There is no, what are we gonna become, mutes? We're just not gonna talk? Like,
that's the point, right? All right. So, but it's just like, okay, where people can watch something, but now it's like, okay, imagine you're running a comedy show. You're a stand-up comedian, but as soon as you tell a joke, you like everything pauses for a second, and you have a reaction. Well, you know what, sir? I don't like that. That does, and you want to respond back. but then you have two other people like, yeah, no, that's pretty fucked up, and then you're just like, oh shit. It's kind of like that, but so when something drops and it's just a reaction, like I dropped my art, we dropped this video, and we were awaiting the reaction. We could say something on one of our shows that could offend some people, and
We're
then
always gonna offend someone.
yeah, exactly. You can't.
Even if you're trying not to.
Exactly. It's like stepping on eggshells these days. But it gets sometimes it can snowball. It turns into an avalanche effect, and where people are like, oh shit, I got to duck and hide, because when you have that many people that's voiced up against you, you're just like, oh shit. Like Rick and Morty, they went through that. They the creator Dan Harmon, his stuff, like stuff from that he had said, stuff that jokes, because his stuff is pretty edgy, like that show, but people like don't really like go up against it because it's like, oh, well, it's based on science. He's attacking. He's got a well, he doesn't believe in God, but he attacks like monotheist people who believe in one God. Like, oh, you're living your life, and then people rally behind that. People have this they want to have that immoral sense. They want to live through a character that doesn't give a fuck. It's not afraid to say what they want. That's why South Park characters, there are still fanhoods for that, because they want to be people that.
I just think people are drawn to honesty.
Yeah, they are, but they also
even if it's uncomfortable, like
right?
People always like the guy who speaks his mind, even if what the guy says is not exactly comfortable. Sometimes,
right? People
always still like that guy, and I feel like that's what applies to the shows and stuff. Like, it may not be comfortable for everyone, but it's real.
Right.
People are drawn to that.
And yeah, that's what I feel like is like I said. That is our show.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for checking out another episode of
Drunk Context.
Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes, sir. And don't forget to hit that little notification bell on the top right, please. We want to make sure that you can check us out as soon as we drop. And this is episode 5. We will see you next week.